Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're focusing on, well, universal fear, I think. That moment of professional paralysis just
Yeah.
hits you.
Oh, yeah, that awful feeling.
Exactly. You run into someone important, maybe a key contact, former client, whatever, and poof, their name, gone, vanished.
Total blank. It's high-stakes social combat. Like you said, your reputation's kind of on the line.
It really is. It's the ultimate linguistic challenge, isn't it? You've
Right.
got, what, 3 seconds
Mm-hmm.
max to decide, do I confess, look kind of foolish, or try to bluff my way through it and risk seeming evasive?
Guaranteed adrenaline spike either way.
Absolutely. The tension's real, and you need a solution, like now. So that's
Yeah.
our mission today, survival.
Okay.
We've pulled together some really useful instructional sources. There's this dialogue where it focuses on this exact scenario.
Yeah.
And we're not just going to pull out vocab words.
No, much deeper than that.
We're extracting the whole toolkit. Linguistic and social survival skills.
Mhm.
We're going to unpack this conversation, look at the precise language, the diplomatic tricks, everything they use to manage,
Yeah.
serious embarrassment and still make sure they can follow up professionally.
Think of it as your instant social recovery playbook. We'll analyze the psychology behind certain phrases, not just what sounds polite, but what's tactically better, for keeping that rapport.
Right, because the relationship is the real asset here.
Exactly. That's what needs to survive your momentary memory fail. We want to give you the shortcut to sounding, well, maybe not flawless, but definitely competent, even when you're kind of freaking out inside.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack the setting from our source dialogue. So we've got Nick and Anna. Nick's the one having the memory meltdown. Anna's the valuable contact. They met before at a conference, talked about something pretty substantial, foreign investment. So this isn't just, small talk.
No, definitely not. It's a business relationship. Recall matters. Respect matters.
And what's fascinating, like you said, is where they meet. On the street, right near Nick's office.
Yeah, that proximity is key. It kind of ups the stakes immediately. He can't really pretend she's just some random person he vaguely remembers. She's right there, near his professional turf.
So Nick feels that panic rising. The name's just gone.
Yeah.
He has to do something fast, what we're calling the evasion.
Right. He needs a quick out, but one that doesn't feel like he's just brushing her off.
And he pulls off this pretty clever preemptive move. It combines an excuse with, like, a concrete action.
Okay, what's the line?
He says, I'm in a bit of a hurry, but here's my card. We should definitely meet up again and continue our discussion.
Okay. That is quite masterful. Let's break that down.
Yeah, tactically, it's brilliant. He gives her the card. That's proof of intent, right? Says, I want to follow up.
Tangible evidence.
But at the same time, he sets a clear boundary. In a bit of a hurry. He's saying, essentially, you're important, this conversation is important, but I can't give you time right now.
He controls the interaction length, preserves the future potential, and respects their previous important discussion, all while probably managing his own internal, anxiety about the name.
Exactly. But his expert evasion, it gets tested immediately.
Right, because Anna comes back with something.
Yeah, Anna initiates the core conflict. Gently, but very directly. She asks if Nick still has her, what's the phrase?
Her contact detail.
Right, contact details. She prompts him to confirm he has the info from last time.
And this is where it gets tricky for Nick. It's a professionally phrased question, but it's a test. If he says yes, well, he's kind of lying because he knows he's missing the key detail, her name.
And if he says no, he looks disorganized. Like he didn't value their first meeting enough to keep her info.
So what does he do?
He chooses honesty. Wisely, I think. But he wraps it in diplomatic language. His admission is, you know what, this is really embarrassing, but your name has just slipped my mind. Can you remind me?
Okay, let's pause on that. This is really embarrassing. He leads with that.
Yeah, owning the feeling up front. It softens the blow of the actual memory failure.
But the real masterclass, as you pointed out earlier, is Anna's response. She gives her name Anna Ferris, and then what does she do?
She completely defuses the situation. She says, don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. I'm terrible with names, too.
Boom. That right there. If we think about the social dynamics, she uses the language of shared imperfection. She normalizes his embarrassment.
Yes, it's critical. Nick was kind of in social debt there, right?
Yeah.
He owed her recognition.
Totally. And instantly, she wipes that slate clean, puts him at ease. She turns his mistake into this shared human thing, which paradoxically probably makes their future relationship stronger.
Builds instant rapport. It's amazing.
She prioritizes the connection over, proving she has a better memory. It's really sophisticated social management, just disguised as simple kindness.
It takes the sting right out. She doesn't just forgive him, she relates to him.
Yeah.
That phrase, I'm terrible with names too, so simple, but maybe the most vital bit of relationship glue in that whole exchange.
Absolutely. It lets Nick shift his focus immediately. Back from his internal shame to, okay, foreign investment, let's talk. High-risk situation. Neutralized. Playable again.
Okay, so we've dissected the strategy, the flow. Now let's pull out those specific linguistic nuggets, the actual tools you can use, starting with Nick's time management phrase.
Right. I'm in a bit of a hurry. This is just essential for professional life, isn't it? It's polite control. Setting boundaries without sounding harsh.
The sources define it simply, you don't have time, moving quickly. But that little phrase, a bit of a, why is that important? Why not just, I'm in a hurry?
Good question. Because I'm in a hurry can sound abrupt. Maybe even a bit rude, depending on the tone.
Demanding.
Yeah. Adding a bit of a toss softens it hugely. It signals, yes, my time is limited, but the urgency isn't like code red. It suggests you still have that second to be polite, offer the card, acknowledge them, turns it from a demand into a gentle explanation.
Keeps it conversational. Makes sense. Let's look at the examples from the source. They show how versatile it is. First, just trying to sped things up. Can you drive faster? I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Okay, standard enough. Then declining an obligation, I can't talk right now, I'm in a bit of a hurry. Perfect social shield, that one, for when you bump into someone and you just know it's going to be a 20-minute conversation you don't have time for.
We've all needed that one.
Okay.
And finally, the professional one, like Nick's situation postponing work, I'm in a bit of a hurry, so I'll check these files later, shows you can even defer tasks politely this way.
Okay, but let me push back a bit. If you use this all the time, don't you risk sounding like you're always too busy for everyone? Like, follow-up is never a priority.
That's a really fair point. Strategic critique.
Yeah.
I think the key is calibration, right? If Nick uses it only when he is genuinely pushed for time or, in this kind of emergency evasion, it works. If he says it to every single person, yeah, he'll get a reputation for being inaccessible. It needs that balance with the concrete follow-up action. In his case, offering the card. That's the insurance policy against seeming rude.
Got it. The action backs up the polite excuse.
Okay, moving to Anna's language. She used that very specific professional phrase. Contact details, not just your info or your number.
Exactly. It's codified almost. The definition is precise. All the info needed to get in touch: name, number, email, mobile. The essential data for that professional link.
So why is contact details tactically better than, say, do you still have my number?
Because it speaks directly to setting up a formal communication channel. It implies a certain level of seriousness? Permanence, almost.
Okay.
When Anna asks if Nick has her contact details, she's really asking, did you complete the necessary admin step for our potential partnership? It's clean, professional. And it forces Nick to confront the missing data, her name, without using vague language herself.
Sets the stage for the actual follow-up. Confirms they both get the importance of their previous chat, the foreign investment thing, and the need for a next step.
And now the big one, the confession. Nick didn't say, I forgot your name. He used, your name has just slipped my mind. That choice is doing a lot of work, managing intentionality.
Right. Slip my mind basically means I forgot, but oops, it was an accident. It shifts the blame away from, like, your effort or priorities. Makes it sound like a temporary brain glitch.
That distinction is so crucial in professional settings. I forgot implies negligence. I forgot to call. I forgot the report. It sounds like you failed.
Whereas it slipped my mind
implies the information was just momentarily out of reach, maybe because of external factors, stress, whatever. Nope, because you didn't care about the person or the task.
The source examples really show this softening effect. Apologizing for a late email. I'm sorry I forgot to respond to your email. It just slipped my mind. The focus is on the temporary lapse, not deliberate neglect.
And then the really high-stakes social fail. Forgetting a birthday. Don't you know what day it is today? Oh, it's your birthday. It completely slipped my mind. Notice the extra word there. Completely.
Yeah. Let's unpack that. What's the difference between it slipped my mind and it completely slipped my mind? Why add that intensity?
Completely ramps up the narrative of unavoidable total forgetfulness. It does two things, tactically. First, it deepens the apology, my failure was absolute. Second, it distances you even further from responsibility. It implies, my brain was so full, the whole system crashed, not just, oops, I wasn't paying attention.
So for really big mistakes, that adverb is like extra diplomatic rescue power.
Exactly. It's a valuable tool for intense apology.
So these phrases aren't just vocabulary. They're like mini narratives designed to control how people see our mistakes. Slipped my mind tells a story of accident, not neglect. Much better story to tell.
Precisely. Okay, so beyond those core survival phrases, the sources also stress something else. Just sounding natural, native sounding speech. That's its own kind of social currency.
Right. If you sound authentic, you build rapport faster, which is definitely what you need after an awkward moment like Nick had. So in the opening of their chat, Anna greets Nick with, "Nick, how's it going?" Seems tiny, but the source calls it a key fluency builder.
It is. It's a subtle but critical shift. How are you or how are you doing?
Yeah.
They're perfectly fine grammatically, but they can feel a bit more formal sometimes or just standard textbook English.
Yeah, a bit stiff sometimes.
Whereas how's it going just sounds, as the source says, really, really natural. It's the go-to casual, high-frequency greeting for native speakers bumping into friends or acquaintances.
And often even shorter, right? Like, how's it going?
Exactly, dropping the G. The lesson is, sometimes sounding authentic means using slightly less perfect, but much more common conversational patterns. So, next time you run into someone, try switching to, how's it going? It instantly makes your English sound more natural, less like you learned it purely from a book.
Now, spatial language. We need to spend a good bit of time here because especially when you're networking or just navigating, being able to describe locations quickly and accurately is vital. Nick asks Anna if she lives around here.
Okay, so the basic phrase, around here, means nearby, but kind of general, right? Like the example, is there a bank around here? You're asking for one nearby, but you don't know exactly where. Vague inquiry.
Precisely. But the beauty is in the modifiers. The source gives us this wonderful linguistic precision. First nuance, right around the corner. This is super specific.
Not just close, but like really close.
Exactly. Within steps. Turn the next actual physical corner, and it's there.
That's so useful for giving directions. If you say, there's a great restaurant right around the corner, the listener knows it's seconds away. No major navigation needed. Takes the guesswork out. Compare that to the bank example. If you're looking for a bank, there is one right around the corner. Immediate proximity, easy access. That level of specificity makes your directions helpful and makes you sound confident.
Okay, so around here, general nearby. Right around the corner, immediate, specific nearby. What's the third one?
The shift to the general area around there. This is for larger, less defined geographic zones.
Okay. Like talking about a city.
Exactly. Los Angeles is a great city. I used to live around there. You're not saying you lived on a particular street corner in LA. You mean somewhere in the general vicinity, the wider metropolitan area.
Got it. So mastering the difference between around here, general, current, right around the corner, specific, immediate, and around there, general, larger area, that lets you talk about geography like a native speaker, with clarity. Hashtag Shay C. Admitting weaknesses. Terrible with.
Which brings us back beautifully to Anna's recovery phrase from the start. That structure, I'm terrible with topic skill, using it to build rapport. Yes, it's such a powerful tool for just humanizing yourself. It's a self-deprecating bridge. When Anna says, I'm terrible with names too, she admits a weakness, and that makes Nick feel less alone, less judged.
But why does admitting weakness work so well professionally? Isn't there a risk of seeming, incompetent?
It's a calculated risk, definitely. But when the weakness is common, relatable, something lots of people struggle with, like memory or sense of direction, it actually tends to increase trust.
So?
It shows authenticity, vulnerability even. In a world where everyone's trying to project this perfect professional image, admitting a small shared flaw, that can be really connecting. It gives the other person permission to admit their own flaws too. Creates an instant bond.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's look at the other examples the source gives. First, numbers. You're terrible with numbers. You can't even remember your own telephone number. I have to confess, this is me. I am terrible with numbers. My phone calculator is my best friend. I genuinely distrust myself adding 2 plus 2 under pressure.
See, it's a widely shared thing, especially now with technology handling so much for us. Then there's the classic, I'm terrible with directions. I'm always getting lost.
Also me, sometimes. Even with GPS.
Totally normalized now. Admitting it just explains why you might need help finding a place. No big deal.
And the last one, tying back to Nick's problem. Faces. I'm terrible with faces. I can never remember what people look like. This one's interesting. I sometimes struggle with this too, putting the name to the face, even if I know I've met them.
Right. The implication is maybe your brain holds data, but the visual recall isn't great. The point is, by preemptively saying I'm terrible with X, You establish empathy. You make yourself seem accessible, relatable, and that's huge for building those long-term professional relationships that rely on trust, not just, efficiency.
Okay, so we've got the language down, the diplomatic exit, the softened confession, they can save you.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, language just isn't enough, right? You need a concrete trick, an actual strategy to get that name before you crash and burn completely.
Exactly. We need to shift from linguistic defense to proactive information retrieval. They're really smooth operators. They don't just rely on verbal skill. They have these subtle social maneuvers ready to go.
Before we get to the slick business tricks, though, I have to share my ultimate embarrassment story because it shows just how useless language can be when the panic is total. The Uncle John incident.
Oh, right, please.
Yeah.
We need the full agonizing detail. Lay it on us.
Okay, picture this. Huge family reunion, tons of people, emotionally charged atmosphere. I see my dad's older brother walking towards me. My uncle. Let's just call him Uncle for now.
Okay. Vague uncle. Got it.
He's smiling warmly. My brain, complete white noise. I know I should know his name. I know he's important. I open my mouth trying to formulate some perfect neutral greeting.
Yeah.
But my internal system is just flashing. Error. Name file corrupted.
The silence inside must have been deafening.
Paralyzing. I tried everything. Conversational loops. How's your side of the family doing? Hoping you mentioned a kid, a wife, anyone whose name might trigger his? No. Tried talking about my dad. Dad mentioned you were doing great. Still nothing. I swear I spent a full 2 minutes trying to subtly maneuver the conversation so he'd say his own name. I even tried a variation of the in a bit of a hurry thing, but it just felt weird and forced in a family setting.
So where was the point of complete surrender? When did you know the linguistic approach had failed?
When I realized I couldn't possibly end the chat without using his name, or it would look incredibly disrespectful. So I mumbled an excuse, quickly escaped, and went into, covert ops mode. Cracked down a younger cousin. Had to whisper, "Hey, the older guy talking to Mom? Mustache. Who is that?" My cousin, thankfully, just goes, "Oh, that's Uncle John." Relief washed over me, but all this shame. Espionage to remember my own uncle's name. Painful.
And the immediate fix was just...
Safest word possible.
Oh.
Uncle. From then on, Uncle, could you pass the potatoes? Great story, Uncle. Effective for family, maybe, but totally useless for a business contact like Anna Faris.
Exactly, which is precisely why we need those business setting tricks, the strategies that bypass the confession altogether.
Okay, lifesaver number 1, the card trick.
The card trick is beautiful because it uses standard professional etiquette. Exchanging business cards, totally normal, expected even. So if you blank on a name, you just smoothly ask, "Do you happen to have a card handy? I'd love to make sure I have your most current details for follow-up."
Ah, genius. You're not asking for their name, you're asking for a professional artifact. And boom, name, title, company, all served up on a little piece of cardstock.
Transforms memory retrieval into, professional due diligence. High leverage, very low risk.
Okay, but what if, potential pitfall, they say, "Oh, I think I gave you one at the conference last week." Then what?
Good question. You got to maintain the facade. Deploy a small linguistic white lie. Maybe, I've been reorganizing all my contacts lately. Just want to double check I have the absolute latest. Frame it around currency or organization, not your faulty memory.
Nice counter. Okay, trick number 2, for when cards aren't around or it's less formal, the email trick.
Right. How does that one work?
You frame it around needing to send something electronically.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to send you that summary we talked about. Could you quickly jot down your best email for me? Or type it into your phone?
And when they write it down?
Bingo. Their full name is almost always right there in the address. John.Smith@company.com. Anna.Ferris@whatever.org.
That is brilliant. It secures the follow-up channel and grabs the missing name, all under the guise of practical communication. Retrieval, totally masked.
So what this all really means is strategic communication isn't just about the words. It's layered. First line of defense. Linguistic shields, those diplomatic phrases. If that fails or you need a faster fix, a second line. Social strategy, the card trick, the email trick.
Mastering both lets you recover gracefully. Maintain your image, keep the conversation going smoothly, turns that moment of sheer panic into, hopefully, a display of competence or at least smooth recovery.
Guarantees you stay in control, even if your memory decides to take an unscheduled break that day. #tag outro. So we've navigated that moment of panic and hopefully equipped you with a pretty vital toolkit, both for linguistic defense and for that tactical information retrieval.
Yeah, we covered those essential survival phrases pulled from the sources. In a bit of a hurry, your graceful exit. Slipped my mind, the diplomatic shield for managing intention, and then the crucial retrieval strategies, the card trick, the email trick.
These aren't just words on a list. They're specific tools designed to protect your professional face, maintain those valuable relationships, especially when you're under that kind of social pressure.
And finally, we touched on admitting shared human flaws, using structures like terrible with names, numbers, faces. We use language, we use these subtle social tricks to kind of mask these unavoidable cognitive glitches we all have. Which raises, I think, an interesting question for you, the listener, to chew on. Given that technology now remembers all our numbers, gives us perfect directions, which cognitive weakness, forgetting a name or failing to recognize a face, which one is actually the most damaging to your long-term professional success, especially in careers built on relationships?
Good question.
And thinking further, what other innovative linguistic or social strategy could you develop? Something to proactively mask your particular weakness, maybe even turn a personal flaw into some kind of unexpected professional strength.
Wow. Connecting memory failure directly to the future of networking. Definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive. Thanks for joining us.